And we're back. My goodness. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Black Friday, where these opinions are not for sale. We have a special permanent guest now back on the show in Chris Gaffrey. My name is Christian. You got Dayla. You got Omar. It's good, Chris.
It's good to be back as now a permanent member. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It was a blast having you on last time, and I'm like, man, this guy's got it. We're gonna keep him around for a while. No, we definitely, got a home here. So a lot of stuff's happened in the last 2 weeks. Last week we weren't on, where everybody's with their families. We're enjoying that time. Even on our own day, Black Friday, we were enjoying time with our family. Sorry about that, but we are back now. And first things first, when I go through the shout-outs, again, like always, shout out to our amazing graphic designer, Amanda Spears. You can follow her on Instagram at Amanda_Spears and Twitter at Amanda E. Spears. And check out her articles on Medium.com. She writes some opinion pieces. They're pretty good. So feel free to check those out. Anything else there for you guys there? No?
No, not this week.
So, hottest thing going on right now, the hottest topic, Dayla, we saw this right away. What's going on in Atlanta?
So you want to go there. So, are you talking about this video that leaked over the last couple, 48 hours, 24 hours, not even, of some poll workers, I believe. I don't know if they had any specific job title, but or were they volunteers? We don't know, but we have this video for all of us to sit here and view of apparently, allegedly, I guess, of someone committing active voter fraud by taking some ballots that were hidden and putting them somewhere. So this is all alleged, but there's video proof of it, and I guess we're going to show the video for everyone to see live.
Allegedly. We have to say the words allegedly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You got to say the words.
Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off. But the ladies in yellow are still there. Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple and the two in yellow and the woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the people who stay behind. Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is, once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table.
In the top right corner, y'all, if y'all are looking.
So actually this will take a few minutes, but we did not know when we first watched this, okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a tablecloth? Is that how they run the place? Maybe this is what they've been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video as a team of us. We don't see that. What we see is typically you're going to find ballots, back in this corner, or coming in through a door, and then they get moved and circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have to.
So I'm gonna stop this for now. We can come back to this at any point in time. But what in the world is happening?
This is the evidence that, everyone's been talking about, and everyone on the left is saying doesn't exist. Like, this is the first piece of concrete evidence that it's like something's happening. Now, whether or not, I think they said it's 4 boxes. Each box can hold up to a couple thousand votes. So, that's enough to sway Georgia. Trump does not have that big of, or Biden doesn't have that big of a margin of victory. So, this could sway it. But, if this is happening just here in this one instance, then this is enough to call into question everywhere. Like, what happened? And, I just think that this is that piece of concrete evidence that we really needed to see.
I would raise the question if this is happening here. I'd question every major metropolitan area. I would question Maricopa County. I would question Philadelphia. I would question Milwaukee, Dane County, and Madison, Wisconsin. I'd question Wayne County. I'd question Detroit. I'd say we need to start looking into this stuff. It's very shocking, and this doesn't seem normal. This isn't just normal. People say there's no evidence. Why do you think Americans are so uneasy? It's not a giant, wide conspiracy. Why does everybody want to suppress the idea that we want to figure out what the truth is, and they don't want people to know? And if they didn't have anything to hide, they wouldn't be acting like this the whole time. They wouldn't in Wayne County. They wouldn't be boarding up windows so that people couldn't watch and observe. And to send people home and say, "Oh, we're tired," and then come back a couple hours later and then start counting ballots again, in the middle of the night, and to say people shouldn't be suspicious at all, and everything was totally legitimate and everything was totally fine. There couldn't have been any screw ups.
You know what? What I'll say to that is, Chris, I was actually watching Sean Hannity maybe a couple of days ago, and I can't remember the woman's name, but it was a black woman on there, and she's part of the GOP, I think either in Wayne County or just in Michigan overall. And she said, it is not the fact that I get hate for what I do. Of course, there's that, but these people are really thinking I'm lying out here when I know what I saw. These people are boarding up these voting precincts and where they're counting ballots at. They're boarding the place up. They're pushing people out saying, go take a lunch break. They won't let them back in. I mean, this is not fairness. It's not fairness. It doesn't bring integrity to our election process. It doesn't bring me peace of mind knowing that, because already it feels like I don't even have a say anymore, because it comes down to a certain few states anyway, and now these certain few states are not even allowing fairness. I mean, here's my thing about it. If Trump lost legitimately, then Trump lost legitimately. But let's ensure the fairness of the election by ensuring that all legal votes are counted. All legal votes are accounted for. All signatures are accounted for. And if he lost, then he lost. But we got to know for sure that he lost legally. And that's what she was saying on Hannity, and that's my take on the entire subject, to be honest.
Yeah, Kamala Harris still hasn't resigned as senator.
She's waiting. She wants to see what happens first.
She's smart.
I think she's waiting for a little worse than a little dog accident to happen to Joe Biden, I think.
No, you know what? I saw this on Facebook. I think a friend of ours, Gabriel Naldas, works for the Leadership Institute. He posted the question, okay, if Joe dies, who becomes vice president then? And how do we get that?
It just doesn't matter, right?
No, what you said?
Doesn't it just go from Speaker of the House and up?
No, nobody moves up the line of succession. What happens is both houses have to confirm a new vice president. Yeah. I thought it was just the Senate, but now it's both houses, and I'm like, goodness gracious. Kamala Harris is just waiting to pick her vice president.
Colton, these affidavits are admissible in court. People say, "Oh, that doesn't mean anything." Yes, no, these are admissible in court. Like signed affidavits these people are certifying legally. And just like the crazy lady that was, in the hearing and everything, she said, chewing her gum, looking like she just woke up. I signed papers saying that I go to jail if I was lying. Did you? These people are signing away saying that what they saw happen. And there's hundreds of these all across the country, but there's nothing to see here. People are just, totally lying. There's nothing to make it up here. This isn't a Me Too movement. This isn't a bunch of, who knows what. This is right here in front of your face. We see this happening on video. This is happening widespread across the country. But again, no evidence of widespread voter fraud because Twitter and Jack Dorsey and Zuckerberg told you so. That's what it seems like. Squad, Garrett, what's up, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. It's and gosh, I mean, it's December 4th, y'all. The election was over a month ago. It was 31 days ago.
Yeah.
We still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, media is trying to call it already. I did this for Obama, and if I would have been old enough, I would have done it for Bush too. Nothing is for certain until states certify, electoral college votes, and then the House and then the joint session of Congress, where the House and the Senate certifies that vote. That's a 3-step process after people go to the ballots. So none of that has happened yet. That's all I'm saying.
So, like, speaking of media, did you guys see James O'Keefe and Project Veritas release a lot of interesting clips from CNN's morning meetings, I'm assuming. So did you guys get to see that over the week?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, it's like because with everything that we do, we figured that they're saying exactly what we caught them saying, like online. Like, we know they're saying it. It's just like we finally caught them doing it. The fact is, like, we actually got them. Like, we all know that they've been saying this for the longest time. They all have an agenda. They've been plotting this out for so long. Like, we know that this has happened. But now we can finally say, like, look, there's the evidence. You know, like, there it is. You know, they're talking about it's a felony and we're getting legal teams involved. Like, no, it's called journalism, something CNN doesn't know about. So, you know, maybe they can take a cue and learn from it. Gosh, I mean, what do you think, Chris?
I mean, it literally just proves what we've been saying. CNN's fake news. I mean, it's not true journalism when you have a bias against everyone who opposes you. I mean, they're talking about Tucker Carlson is racist, a white supremacist, Fox News. They're saying Trump just watches Fox News and then gets riled up. And it's basically like, I don't know. They said something like a ladder of white supremacy or like domino effect where Tucker Carlson will say something, it's racist, yada, yada. Trump will see it, he'll react, and then now legislation and such. But it's just a whole bunch of BS, honestly. Like, if people still are watching CNN, you know, I'm sure we all have family, uncle, grandma, something, still watching CNN. What do you like? Those are the people who are just blatantly ignoring the facts. It's the same people who are going to look at this video that happened in Georgia and they're going to say, like, no, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, they told me that's fake. They told me that's fake. I don't believe you. CNN told me that's fake.
I can be right in front of their faces, but since it might go against what they know to be true and it might hurt their feelings by being true, they won't accept it. And that's where we're at with politics, and everything's that polarized. It's been this way since, you know, the early 2010s. It's just you know, gotten to the point where it's exploded on a full scale.
100%.
It's terrible. My bad, y'all. It's terrible. CNN, I used to call it Clinton News Network. I guess Clinton is really out of the mainstream, so Communist News Network. It's just a lot of it's a lot of foolery. It's a lot of BS that's going on within CNN. Honestly, I don't care if you have opposing views. If I have opposing views with you or you have opposing views with me or whatever, just tell the truth. Don't journalists have like an oath that they swear by, just like doctors do or any other major profession does? Don't they swear by the truth and bringing out the truth? I mean, it's enshrined in our Constitution, freedom of the press, yet you're using the press to control the masses. That's not true democracy. That's not what a republic is supposed to look like. That's not what the founders wanted for our country. And I'm just sick and tired of it. That's all I got to say.
I mean, I think they pledge allegiance to the bag.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
You know what they're loyal to.
Hashtag bag talk. Like, that's, yeah.
I like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? What do you do when the press is obviously blatantly biased? They're misinforming the people. I mean, it's not, in my opinion, it's not the government's place to come in, but it's also like, God, this is not like good. It's awful that, and it's not just one side. Both sides are biased. Both sides are presenting an agenda. There's no such thing as like, mainstream unbiased media. That just doesn't exist. So I mean, like, what do you guys think? How can we solve this? With all this biased media.
I think it goes into that and censorship, and I think that's got the biggest pull right now. And I think it's got to be resolved. I think big tech's got the biggest grasp that they've ever had before, to the point where they're more powerful than the United States government by them controlling the narrative, by what people see and don't see. The people won't ever be able to see the truth again if this continues in this pattern. I think we got to break it up. Yeah, that's what I think. It's got to be done, in a sense.
I can see that. I mean, honestly, I think not the only thing, but the main thing is competition. What we're seeing now with Newsmax and OA and Own, I don't know if they, but and then Right Side Broadcast Network, just to name a few that I've seen personally, just blowing up recently, especially over past since the election. So I think that's the main thing, drawing viewers to other news sites, because just in any general situation when competition is in place, it forces the former leader of that space to change its views, even though I don't want them to change. I want them to scoot. But in the grand scale of things, they will at least come back to hopefully real journalism, true journalism, if their viewership just plummets completely. So
I think we have to realize that all of these media outlets, they're corporations. What is the main thing of a corporation that wants to generate money? They sell what the buyers want. Mm-hmm. So honestly, they're going to be putting out information, quote unquote information, of what people want to hear. So for a long time, and I still do this, I don't watch CNN, I don't watch MSNBC, I don't watch Fox. They're putting out there what their viewers want to hear. I will read news articles to get a basis of what's going on, and then I'll go in and look up different pieces of information and then build together what I believe is the truth. And this is not going to stop with CNN. It's not going to stop with Fox. It's not going to stop with MSNBC. I wish we can get to a point where I can trust media outlets, because I know these corporations won't have agendas. All media is going to do is bring out agendas. And it's a good thing the government doesn't interfere, because if they did, it's about who's empowered at that point. Because people have agendas. Both parties have an agenda. If the government interfered with the press, then whoever's in power, that's what we're going to be hearing. Look at communist China. Communists are in power. So what are the masses hearing? Only communist stuff. Only stuff that promotes the state and not individual liberty or individual thinking, for that matter. So my hope is that America does not get to that point. It could get to that point, and if it does, God help us all. But that is my hope, that we do not get to that point, that our media, that it can find its integrity, and that we can actually put truth out there for the people to hear.
I'm going to add a point to that, just because in my mind, I just think that it's interesting that you said that, like right now, kind of, I guess, finding this point in the media, like to trust it or whatever like that. And in my opinion, I feel like as Americans, we should treat the media like they've lost our full respect. You know what I mean? I feel like we should not trust them, period, at all. and make them, you know, kind of like earn our trust and earn our respect back, because that's how I just feel like they're so biased. They don't tell the truth. What are we hearing right now? They haven't any mainstream media that has a little bit of left-wing bias has not showed any hearing that has been in several states over this past week. So the fact that they're hiding certain things and not being honest, and then what we're seeing with, like I said, James O'Keefe, his clips that he released, we're seeing all this like non-transparency. Since they can't be transparent with us as American people, we need to not have any affiliations with the mainstream media at all, just to show and prove, you know, that we are the people, we have the power. So, you know, like take back our power at this point. With every media, television, I feel like that is, you know, 100%.
To that, I'm gonna say that, I mean, the people that are not showing these hearings, CNN and MSNBC, they are doing what makes them money. Their viewers do not want to see it because they don't want to believe it. They've been pushed this narrative by whoever is running MSNBC, whoever is running CNN, and I pray to God Trump buys one of them out. I really do. It's going to change the game if he does. So Trump, I hope you're hearing me out. Please buy CNN out. But I mean, unless something like that happens, they're going to be feeding this narrative. So people don't want to believe that these hearings are happening. People don't want to believe. If people want to believe that these people are out here lying, don't you know that these people are under oath? They're under oath under the penalty of perjury. You can go to jail for lying about this. And then it's about the election. So, of course, they might even put treason on your behind. You know, treason is punishable by death, and they're bringing back the gas chamber, the electric chair, and all of that other stuff for treason. I don't want to be in that situation. I wouldn't be lying in any of these situations. This is serious, folks. So seriously telling people that they're lying about these hearings, that they're lying about what they saw and what they witnessed, and that's saying you deserve to die. I'm saying this here and now. That's saying you deserve to die. Because that's what it is. That's basically what it boils down to.
Brutal. All right, shifting gears here back. In culture this week, there's a little bit of a little altercation here between Noah Cyrus and Candace Owens. You want to give a little background to this, Dayla, from what we were saying the last time? Yeah. We were on.
So I'm actually going to read a tweet from Miss Noah Cyrus.
Oh, wait. Can I put up the photo before you do that to just give a little?
Yeah.
Let's put the photo up here.
So,
I got the photo loaded for you.
We spoke about this 2 weeks ago now on our last show about, Sir Harry Styles, who did a Vogue magazine cover shoot, whatever he did, and he was dressing in feminine clothing dress, you know, this garb that he has on right now, very floral-ish, girly colors, whatever you want to call it. So Miss Noah Cyrus, who chimed in. Noah Cyrus is Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter, Miley Cyrus's sister. If you don't know her, she's also a singer herself. She chimed in and basically called Candace Owens, from what people are assuming, and everyone, you know, basically assumed correctly because she did not deny it of herself. And, you know, so she didn't call Candace Owens by name, but, you know, everyone knows that Candace Owens and Harry Styles kind of had this altercation, or whatever you want to call it. So she went ahead and said, you know, let me read verbatim so I'm not mixing up her words here. She says, nappy ass hoe, Harry wears this dress better than half you nappy ass hoes. Sorry. So she said, you wear this dress better than half these nappy ass hoes, referring to Candace Owens. And I just want to play a video, so I'm going to share my screen because, of course, Candace Owens had to, you know, come back. I didn't think that at first, actually, that she was going to respond, but she actually did respond, and this is her response to Miss Noah Cyrus.
To respond and say, I don't think it's manly, and I think that we are increasingly encouraging men to act like women. Again, I guess little Noah Cyrus saw this.
Oops, is my video not playing, guys?
Your video's not there.
Can you see it now?
It's now on the screen.
Ah, here we go. Now go ahead.
Here we go.
Little privilege wore that dress because he wanted to invite a conversation about men wearing dresses, and I had a right to respond and say, I don't think it's manly, and I think that we are increasingly encouraging men to act like women. Again, kept it respectful. I guess little Noah Cyrus saw this. Little privileged Noah Cyrus, but if you look at her page, she looks very underprivileged. She wants you to buy into the underprivilege of her page on Instagram. You know, she posts George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. You know, she's super woke to the causes around her, smoking a joint. You know, she really wants you to understand the struggle of being wealthy, a wealthy elitist, and how deep and dark it can be when you have everything handed to you.
Okay, so real quick before you guys give your input, I chose to did about a 9-minute response back to Noah Cyrus and just to the media or her response. I chose to use that 30-second clip because I just found it interesting because even in my personal life a few weeks ago, someone told me a story of a coworker. Sorry, not a coworker from our job, but a parent coworker or whatever like that. She's telling me a story, and I just thought it was interesting that she says, this white liberal with this fantastic life, or you have money, you're privileged basically, and you want to portray to the media or on online and your social media that you have this terrible life and you're down with the cause, you really understand what's going on, and you're in this like bubble or whatever like that. So you're trying to downplay your life to try to fit into like just a narrative or just like this what's popular, right? That's I guess that culture is kind of popular right now. So I found that interesting. I want to see you guys' take on that, on like the privileged white liberal kind of trying to be down and kind of really trying to say that they understand what's going on, and white silence is violence, and that whole narrative.
They always want to be better than you, no matter what it is. They want to be better at oppression. They want to be better at anything else. They just want to be better than you. They don't want to they don't want to be level to you. They don't want to look at you eye to eye. They want to look down or whatever it might be. And that I have to acknowledge that I have all these great things that you don't have, that you can't have, because I have these and you don't. Like every single time, it's always one of these things. Because there's a system in place, and I'm a product of that system. Like, bro, like you're not better than me. Like I don't look at anybody as better than me out there, like eye to eye. Like, I don't see anybody like that. And if you do, you got to go look in the mirror and start over, because that's nonsense. But yeah, no, it's straight up. It's a superiority complex here. It's crazy.
I mean, it's just them being on their high horse, like you said, superiority complex. They're like racking up the points. Every black post they put up, every George Floyd shirt they buy, it's like they're getting white. I don't know what you would call it, like woke points, and they're just keeping those in the bank. And the next time somebody calls them racist, they're gonna dish those coins out and say like, "No, I was at that protest. I'm not racist. I may have called that black lady a nappy-headed hoe, but I swear I'm not racist."
Yeah, seriously. So, I just gotta thank Noah Cyrus from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for posting a black square and ending racism in June. Thank you so much for ending racism. You did a great job. Thank you so much.
Single-handedly, she ended racism.
Ended racism. All the racism.
I don't know what is going on in white liberals' heads. I don't know what their train of thinking is. I mean, for them to think that they have the upper hand, because that's what it really is. White liberal privilege, and to be honest, I don't necessarily believe in white privilege. I do believe in white liberal privilege. Why? Because white privilege says, here's the difference between white privilege and white liberal privilege. Regular white privilege states that, in the bottom line, it states that you have to believe that someone is superior, that the race is superior, that the people with this type of skin tone, this type of background is superior for them to have privilege in a free society. White liberal privilege is the fact that they believe this, but they think it's quote unquote wrong. So they're going to do everything they can to try to retroactively fix their wrong, which they were born white. So therefore, it's not their fault that they were born white. Is it? And it's not our fault. We were born black. That's how God made us. God didn't make us inferior or superior to any other race or any other skin tone. So it just drives me crazy. Noah, Cyrus, thank you, because you are now proving that you guys are the crazy ones.
I think how you can really tell a white liberal is racist or a woke white person is racist is, I think we've probably all have experienced this. Tell them you're conservative. Tell them you voted for Trump. Tell them this. Tell them that. They're gonna start using some. You're a race traitor. You're an Uncle Tom. You're this, then that, and it's like, whoa, that's a little racist there, buddy. Like, calm down. Like,
not the Uncle Tom thing anymore. Nobody read the book. Uncle Tom was a freaking hero, man.
I think the most disingenuous and awful thing that somebody will tell you, and that they told me before when I bring up whatever this, I just bring up a different idea. They're like, you just don't understand. You just don't get it. You just don't understand. Like you're too dumb to understand because they have to tell it to you because they're smarter than you. They got to tell it to you. You just don't understand. Oh, you just don't get it. So let me tell it to you. Let me tell you why I'm better than you and why we created a whole system to keep you down. Like I got to listen to that. I'm not listening to that.
There goes the key word, Christian. We. Okay, so therefore, you just proved and you just admitted to us that you are the racist because now you're using we. Weren't you supposed to separate from this so-called we? If there is a system of oppression, then aren't you supposed to separate from it? No, but no. Now you're bringing in your whiteness, and that's what your quote unquote whiteness is going to save you at the end of the day, and they know that. Each white liberal knows that at the end of the day, their quote unquote whiteness would be able to save them in that particular way of thinking. Is interesting.
They let people get away with this. I'm not letting people get away with this anymore. And you call that mess out when you see it. You call that mess out when you see it. Yeah, that's bottom line.
I 100% agree with that because especially in modern day or whatever, people feel so comfortable with just calling people on the right side racist or Nazis or whatever like that, but no one seems comfortable calling a white liberal a racist, a Nazi, when they obviously portray these definitions verbatim before they want to start changing definitions and what so have you. But they embody these definitions, but no one wants to, or it's not cultural to call them out. So I think people on the right need to start, definitely, like you said, start calling them, what they are. If they're racist, call them racist. If they're Nazis, call them Nazis. If they're fascist, call them fascist, because we've been seeing a lot of that behavior, especially since March.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck and looks like a duck, what is it?
You beat them at their game. You literally beat them at their game. Whatever it's going to be. You're not better than explain to them what you're doing. Boom. Block it out to them and just lay it out. Because these people are literally blind, and that's all you got to go lay it out. Go expose it. Expose all of that. That stuff is total nonsense. It's got to be. Talk about ending racism. We can't end racism, but I hope we can end stupidity someday.
Okay, big fact.
Man, something that had been on my mind for a bit. I know we didn't put this in here, but if you guys hadn't seen, there's a bar and a club out there in Staten Island, New York, called Max Public House. All right, if you guys aren't familiar with this, let me share this video. Hopefully, let me share this video. It went viral. I'm gonna make the disclaimer now. Language here.
Oh yeah.
When you're being raided by the fucking sheriff's department, okay? This tiny little place trying to make a fucking living, okay? 350 people on an airplane, thousands of planes, okay? This close to each other. Costco's open, Home Depot, people lined up, backed up with each other. This guy can't open his fucking business. Shame on you fucking people. Shame on everybody for letting this fucking happen. There should be 1,000 people out here right now when they get fucking raided by the goddamn Gestapo. Tomorrow is Wednesday at 6 o'clock. p.m., I want this fucking street shut down with 10,000 fucking people. Because if we don't show up and show fucking face, we're gonna lose this whole fucking battle. Disgusting. You should all be fucking disgusted with yourselves. If they fear you, they won't fuck with you. You understand what I'm saying? Get the fuck out here tomorrow night, Wednesday. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock.
So, yeah, the language up in there to animate it quite a bit. But that whole thing going down there, the owner of Max Public House was arrested and jailed and everything and released. And the next day, him and his lawyer talked to Tucker about everything going on. If you guys didn't know about Max Public House, it's in Staten Island on the south side here, on the south end of the borough. And if you go just about 2 blocks north, about a quarter mile away, it's in the light orange zone, and there's bars open, pubs open, and restaurants open all the way down there. It just so happens that Max Public House is on the side of the borough that doesn't like Governor Cuomo or de Blasio, didn't vote for him in these last elections. And I wonder why they got shut down. And they've been shut down since. And it kind of seems like they're getting punished for it. And so this guy opens up his business and everything, and the sheriff's department goes in there, not NYPD, the sheriff's department goes in there, throws the man in jail, shuts it all down. So the next day they came out there, 1,500 people in the streets, flooded it out. And they created a barricade outside the business, wouldn't let anybody inside at all. If anybody tried to enter, they'd get arrested immediately. And this is what we have in America, to the point where people can't open up their own business to feed their families. And we're going to have the sheriff's department start arresting people when there's actual crimes being committed out in the world. But this is what's really important in New York City. Not despite the fact that, murderous crimes are up astronomical numbers in New York City everywhere. Burglary and everything else. But public business owners, okay, that's it. So
that's really upsetting. I've seen a few videos of like owners. I think one in Virginia I seen yesterday of an owner. It was a Candace thing. They were outside his restaurant, or his business. I don't know if it was a restaurant, but they were outside doing a interview, and he was just like outside, and also said something about the lockdowns and everything. So I think it's like really sad, especially like when you see these business owners super passionate about it. And in this particular video that I seen, he was very mad about special interest, getting certain monies. And I know that you guys all heard, I think there's over $900 billion. I'm sorry. Is it? Yeah, $900 billion that is about to maybe, because bipartisan, I heard that bipartisan looked over it, so maybe that's about to be passed soon. So, it's about, the special interests getting the money and businesses kind of just going under and not being able to work, or not even, receiving federal help or even, state level help. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Daly, your audio sounds kind of washed out to me. Does that sound like that for you guys too, or is it just me?
It sounds a little weird.
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear that.
Okay. No, yeah, totally. That's the one thing is these people can't open their businesses, and then the government doesn't even give them the funding, man. They give them breadcrumbs and act like they're going to survive on it. So you cut off their supply of income and the way that they can make their living, and then you don't even supplement them enough to make them survive. They're literally starving these people to their deaths. These people, their livelihoods aren't coming back. They've ruined it. And they, like you said, they gave it out to the corporations and special interests. You got the Kennedy Center getting millions of dollars. For what? For what?
No, I mean, it's disgusting. The fact that all of the woke liberals online who are saying the fact that you want to open your business, it's selfish, you're killing people, you're literally killing people. What about all the people who are literally putting guns in their mouth and killing themselves because they've lost everything? They will never get that back. I mean, I live in a state that is completely shutting down again for the second time now, and there are so many businesses that we've lost that will never come back now. And that's a tragedy. Yes, people dying, it's a tragedy. COVID's a tragedy. It's a pandemic, yes. And I'm not saying it's fake, but I am saying that we have to weigh the risks, let people live. People have to live. And if people want to make the choice to go to work, if people want to make the choice to open their business, to allow people to come in and eat or drink or do whatever, that's their own personal choice. And the fact that every single police officer or county sheriff or sheriff's office or sheriff's deputy who are enforcing this, all of them should be ashamed. They are all despicable. And I those who are like, I'm all about like back in the blue, and you know, we gotta support our police. It is. I mean, it's 100%. You are supporting tyrants, and you're despicable, and I don't respect you.
No, and we can't use they're just following orders. No. That's we're beyond that. We're way beyond that, because there's no way you're just following. You just dragged a man out of his own business, just wanted to open up and live his life, and just ran. Oh, he's just following order. To what? To where are you? Where's your oath and where's the loyalty at? Is it to the governor? Is it to the state? Because we don't pledge allegiance to the state. That's not
exactly.
what this is.
What I'll say to it is the restrictions that are being put on states, or no, that states are imposing on themselves. I never want to take away powers away from the states. I mean, that's enshrined in our Constitution. However, we have to have a robust economy in order for America to work. And in order for that robust economy to work, we've got to let people make decisions on their businesses. And if we're not allowing that to happen, we are becoming dictators, we are becoming tyrants. And then we're trying to use the Constitution or even the preamble of the Constitution, promote the general welfare. That's what people are using as an argument to impose these lockdowns and these things. You know, for one, I do wear a mask. Why? I am at risk. I'm a type 1 diabetic. And it's affected me in ways that I couldn't even imagine. My entire body structure has changed from my diabetes. So, and I've had COVID before, and apparently, according to the science behind it, you can be reinfected from it. So if that's apparent, I wear my own mask for my own protection. But I chose to wear that mask. I chose to protect myself. I made the conscious choice. The government should not be making that type of choice for me. The government should not be making the type of choice whether I should be living off of them or working for myself or providing for myself. Government was not made to make those type of choices. Government was to provide order and security. And that's not providing order and security. That's creating chaos. Right now, the government is creating chaos. And that's what needs to end, and it needs to end immediately.
It does. If you guys don't know already tonight, am I echoing?
A little.
A little bit?
Yeah, I think there's an echo.
Yeah, that's weird. That hadn't happened before. Max Public House is opening tonight with the help of Ian Smith, the gym owner out in New Jersey, who's never shut his doors, never required a mask mandate, and gets fined $15,000 a day. He's personally helping out. They're opening up tonight. I'm going to stay tuned tonight and see what's going to happen or what's happened so far. They were supposed to open up at about 8:30, so about 15 minutes ago. And so we're going to find out what happened tonight, and we'll report back on that next week and everything. But they're opening up, and they've had enough. And when they asked the sheriff's department and the local government about this, because they did try to do it diplomatically, they gave them a runaround answer. They wouldn't answer it. And that's the problem, too, is the government doesn't answer questions. They don't want to have solutions because they want to keep the same problems happening, so that you have to keep asking them for help. So this is just nonsense. They just want to keep holding it above people's heads, and that's despicable, and that's shameful, beyond shameful. These people deserve better. We deserve better as the American people. And this is a big wake-up call for people, too. Start looking into the people that you elect. The sheriff. This stuff matters. This stuff matters more than ever now, because these are the people that are going to infringe or support or uphold the Constitution. That's one big thing right there. Your city council people, they're people that are going to let you live your life and run your business or shut you down. And the city commissioner, all those people, those are the people that are in charge of your livelihoods right now. And that's why it matters more than ever to look at your local elections. Man. Okay. Boom. To our next part, voter fraud court hearings. Dayla, what you got for us?
Well, I didn't really have a lot on this. We kind of talked about it and mixed in with the ATL polling video. But, there were several court hearings that happened over the course of the week. no mainstream media coverage, of course, but that was to be expected. I seen it personally on this new, I'm assuming their new network called NTD. I watch them streaming on YouTube, and they usually have like every single court hearing. I know Right Side Broadcast Network also does the same thing. But yeah, I just heard some interesting testimonies. Like was said earlier, these people signed, affidavits. And in my opinion, if the Democrats end up, taking power, why won't they go after these people, to prove a point or, do whatever? But at the end of the day, I definitely believe that these people saw what they saw. I do believe that there was countless acts of voter fraud. And even though how several commissioners or whoever were on the boards of certain hearings made made people feel stupid or whatever you may have about their testimonies, but Christian said earlier, the lady, said she did sign something that said that she could go to jail. So, which everyone did. So I think it's really interesting just in general, these court hearings, because we're hearing so many different stories about voter fraud that, is, in my opinion, expected or I already knew or thought about it, especially the UPS fraud. I don't know if you guys heard that there were several truck drivers that came forward. And I thought that was a very interesting one because before the election, that was something that we were hearing a lot about, defunding UPS, right? USPS, defunding them, and how terrible they are. And now after the election, we're starting to see, how terrible they are. They were involved in voter fraud. They're very slow in general. They lost mail. They lost my personal debit card. I was upset with that, but and they
lost my check of $100. Yeah, they lost my money.
So it's just interesting to see that court, that I guess that coming in full circle now, us hearing the defund USPS and now hearing that they were involved, potentially, allegedly, whatever you want to say, involved in this whole voter fraud scandal. So what do you guys think about hearings and people just coming forward, and the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that came forward and everything?
I think it's honestly with all of these, if you watch the hearings, it's just politicians looking at people saying, you're stupid, you're wrong, you don't know what you saw, you don't understand. And then the media is backing up those politicians, where that woman who said, I signed this affidavit, if I'm lying, I can go to prison. None of those politicians signed anything. None of those politicians will see any jail time if this comes out that that these people are right, that there was voter fraud. And now, we talked about that video. There's concrete evidence. We have evidence. Now, this is just one example, but if we start looking into it and start looking into more places that all of these people are talking about, I'm sure that it's 2020. There's got to be cameras in these places. I mean, and this just shows, if nothing comes of this just shows that our election process is broken and we need to fix it before our next election, before 2022. Because I mean, it probably won't, because Joe Biden will be president, and this is how Dems win, they cheat. But I mean, we'll see what happens. It's just ridiculous.
It's beyond it. All right, so speaking of fraud, everything else going on here, Omar, so what do we got on? You said apparently Stacey Abrams is being investigated. What's going on there?
Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger, try saying that 3 times fast or 5 times fast. Secretary Raffensperger is investigating several nonprofits, including and especially Stacey Abrams' nonprofit. What is it called? The New Project or New Voter Project, for improper voting registration tactics. Apparently, the secretary, whose son has been dead for 2 years, got stuff in the mail saying he was registered and he got push cards, when this man has been dead for 2 years and was supposedly purged from the rolls. So he is launching an investigation into her and her organization, who, by the way, was its former CEO was Raphael Warnock, who is now in the Georgia runoff against Kelly Loeffler. So I find it interesting that that report came out. Also, it's been reported by Fox News and other media outlets that her nonprofit organization also registered voters that were outside of the state of Georgia, especially coming from New York City. So it's not just dead people, it's out-of-state folks. And this is coming out of Secretary Raffensperger's mouth. And Raffensperger originally said there was no voter fraud. He originally said this and stood by it. And people voted in this man because he's trustworthy, and in his entire line of work, he's always been very careful, very calculated in how he runs his ship, how he runs the entire organization, now how he runs Georgia elections. So for him to go 180 and say, hey, we're about to investigate this, and then this video comes out, and then Brian Kemp is now saying, okay, let's make an audit of all of these signatures with these voters. It's really, really eye-opening. There's more information to come out, I'm sure, but what do you guys make of this? I mean, the complete turnaround by this Secretary of State to go and say, okay, now I'm going to investigate this whole entire organization, and if something comes up, we need to investigate Stacey and Raphael, for that matter. Well, what do y'all think of that?
We're not so crazy, are we? We ain't so crazy now, are we? With all the things we've been saying.
Thank you.
You would think that out of the people that they want to send information on voting, probably the Secretary of State's dead son should have been X'd off of that list. You know, go after the other dead people, the unimportant dead people. And that's obviously a joke. No one clip that and say that I said dead people are important.
I got you.
But, you know, it is, I want to see what comes of this. You know, let's wait and see what happens. I mean, and this, some people may get offended by this, but this is my own opinion, that honestly, a lot of the time when Republicans are going after things and saying things, it's a big nothing burger and nothing comes of it. That's how I felt about Rudy Giuliani this last month. He's came out with one piece of evidence, so I might have to give him that. Mm-hmm. But like, if he's coming out with more, I need to see it, because a lot of the time it's just talk, and it's just, we're going after them, we're going to sue them, and then nothing happens while the Dems are, you know, trampling on all of our rights.
Because the crazy part about it is he said, let's go on and certify these results, because I think we've ran a tight ship here in Georgia, and therefore I don't think any voter fraud happened, even though there are multiple reports from multiple people that are saying that.
That's exactly it. I thought we ran a tight ship. They got to get past themselves. They think they do such a great job that it could never happen under my watch, and they're so prideful. They got to get past themselves. This stuff, fraudulent activity is there. They just need to go look for it, but they refuse to, because they're going to make them look bad, like they weren't in charge and they weren't running a tight ship like they thought they were. As tight as the ship was, there were still rats on board.
Well, he's finding that out now. What do you think about it?
I think everybody needs to go ahead and swallow their pride and go do the American people some justice right now. I think that's what needs to happen. And everybody's going to get besides themselves. Oh, it couldn't happen in my state. My state's so secure. My state's so secure. Doug Ducey in Arizona needs to get over it. They need to go look into this stuff. This stuff isn't adding up. Oh, it'll make you look bad. Go do the right thing. For one.
Yeah, if it's so secure, then what do you got to hide? Just do it. Just investigate. And then you can come out with that big plaque that says certified, we're nice and clean. Like, here's some videos. Like, show some evidence that it's clean. Right. Because everybody in the country wants to know, because this can change it all. We need to know.
What do you think about it, Dalo? You got an opinion?
I mean, yeah, I guess my opinion is that, you know, I tend to believe they're right on these matters, you know. There was, you know, allegations on Ilhan Omar doing things, you know, with her organization. So AOC doing some shady things with her campaign, you know. And I hear these stories come from sources like Fox News or, you know, whatever. That's why I was kind of reluctant on sharing this story about Stacey Abrams, because, like you say, we hear these stories from these sources like Fox News, and they become nothing burgers. Stacey Abrams is a key figure in Georgia. I personally believe that there's a lot of shady things that go on in her organization. I watched her little Netflix, sorry, not little, but her Netflix documentary that she did with her organization. And, you know, I thought that it was on the lines of what Joe Biden Fraudian slipped up and said that they built the largest voter fraud organization. Yeah, that documentary rubbed me on those lines. So I have my personal opinions on Stacey Abrams and, you know, the whole kind of Democrat establishment elitist, if you will. I hope something comes out of this investigation. That's all.
Let's remember though that Joe Biden keeps talking about how Trump's not conceding. It's a threat to democracy, yada yada yada. Stacey Abrams still hasn't conceded. I mean, you know, so I mean, and they're best friends. They're best friends. So I mean, like, but honestly, Joe Biden probably forgot that she ever ran for anything. He can't remember what he ate for breakfast yesterday. So.
He mixes her up with Michelle Obama for all we know, honestly. Like real.
Oh no, you can't you can't mix up
or
beautiful
and Sanders, the woman. Sorry, I forget her first name all the time, but Sanders on his communications team. Maybe he mixes up Stacey Abrams with her.
He probably just goes up to her and he's like, "Oprah, it's been so long."
Legit, like honestly.
It's Joe Biden. He doesn't know. He's like corn pop.
Poor Joe Biden. He's being used by Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi and my favorite one, Shifty Shift, and all of them are using him.
Did you guys see that meme of Joe Biden with the cast on his leg, and then it's Kamala Harris dressed up as a dog, and she's like this, like, because I mean. I guarantee you when she got that breaking news, Joe Biden like broke his foot or whatever, she's like, so close. So close.
So close. Yeah, it's so close that it needs to go up like 2 or 3 feet more up to this area.
I mean, he can break his hip, he'll probably die. He's kind of frail.
The dude get blown over with a gust of wind. It's over. Oh man.
Poor Uncle Joe.
Gosh, you know. So, Dayla, what we got here with the True Dallas? So you got to give some what people don't know.
So this one was a very interesting one. This is earlier in the week. A restaurant owner, a Black restaurant owner, in Dallas, Texas, kind of went viral after addressing a few of his patrons. I would say he addressed them, according to him, this is not what went viral. Viral was basically his blow up. You know, I guess that those things always go viral. You know, when it's your turn to retaliate or something, that's what goes, you know, public or whatever. But so what went viral was his blow up. But he addressed these ladies privately. Firstly, because apparently they were twerking on tables in his restaurant. They were on furniture and stuff like that, and he didn't want the rest of his patrons to feel uncomfortable, and he didn't also want none of his merchandise or his property to be damaged. So he politely asked them to stop what they were doing. I'm guessing they felt offended. I guess they felt that they were being talked to as a child, and they weren't children, so they weren't going to listen to someone who is talking to them like that. And they did it again. So this is his blow up. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm sorry that I couldn't edit this kind of nicely, but bear with me.
Well, we no filter here. No filter. We got the filter, but just sometimes. Go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna share this here.
I invested a lot of money into buying this building, into developing this concept, so Black people can have somewhere nice to go to. Okay, somewhere where we can feel good about ourselves as a stop to you, please. Somewhere where our people can feel good about ourselves as a culture, okay? No, real talk. And so all this working and shit, take it to Prime, take it to Pink, don't bring it here because we're a restaurant. And so beyond that, 75% of our customers are ladies. And And I want men to show respect for themselves for how they carry themselves here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are talking on glass here? If you want to do it, you fuck out my restaurant. Because I did it for our people and I did it for our culture. So don't do it again. I don't want to hear it. If you don't like it, get out because I don't need your money. I need to provide something for my people. And don't do it again. Thank you.
So
Preach.
what you got to think on that there? He said a mouthful.
Was he wrong? I mean, like I don't know if his like restaurant is like specifically like marketed towards black people. That's what it kind of sounds like. But like, you know, it really is like, like if we're gonna do something as a community, like you're always gonna have a couple bad apples. But like, why you gotta twerk at a restaurant, man? They're trying to eat brunch, and you know you're over here twerking. Nobody wants that in a restaurant. And I'm sure there's gonna be some woke liberals out there who are gonna call this man an Uncle Tom or racist or whatever, or that twerking or whatever is part of black culture. They're gonna try and use that or whatever. But I agree with them. I think that it's his restaurant. If they want to go twerk, take it to the club, not at brunch.
You know, where the whole thing is, this is why we can't have nice things. Saying we can't. This is why we can't have. This is why we can't have nice things. It literally is. Anything and everything. There's always some people. They call them ignorants. Ignorants ruin everything. Ignorants come up in there. They ruin everything. Have a nice restaurant. Play the music. They do their thing. They gotta go. Like we're not all like that. We don't all do that. We don't all behave that way. We don't all do that sort of thing. But that's what gets put on social media. That's how we get portrayed. That's how everything comes out there. And people wonder, why we got to be looking at it like that? Why they look at us like this? Why they do this and that? Goodness.
You know,
we want men to respect themselves. And ladies, we want them to respect you. You got to give them something to respect too. Period. It's simple. My goodness. And it's, and I don't know, everybody was so pressed on Twitter because, you know, the outrage mob on Twitter, how they act and everything. They were so, I would have left. I can't believe he talked to him that way because, you know, that's empowerment, I guess. It's just total, everything that's bad and disrespectful is empowerment to Twitter and the rest of the liberal world out there. It's just empowerment, so let it go. But just nonsense to me.
You know, whenever my parents, when I was a little kid, whenever my parents took me and my little sister out to a nice restaurant, they told us how to act. Charity begins at home. They told us how to act, okay? They said, look at this place. Look at how nice it is. Look at the nice tables, nice chairs. Look at the ambiance. That's where I learned the word ambiance from, was nice restaurant. Look at the atmosphere of the place. You can't act the fool here. They sat us down and said, you can't act bad here, or you can't act a certain way here. Where in the world do you see people who are probably sipping on fancy wine? I don't know what they serve at this restaurant. I really don't. But from that video, from that little snippet I saw, you're probably having brunch there. It's probably a place where you wear nice clothes, where you can bring, where women can bring what's the fashion? I mean, what's Michael Kors or something? It's probably a very nice place. You know,
I don't mean to interject, but they're selling tables there on New Year's for $10,000. It's that type of place. It is expensive. It is expensive.
$10,000
table
for a table. Yeah. I can go buy a car for that amount. Come on now. So with that being said, I mean, if anybody's going out there and saying that this was right, and what I'm talking about is the twerking was right in this type of establishment. What I want them to do, I want them to go into a white establishment. I want a white person to go into a white establishment and twerk like that, in that kind of, with that kind of ambiance, in that kind of culture, in that kind of atmosphere. I want some white person to do that. I want some black person to do that. I just want someone to do it and see what happens to them and make an uproar about it. You know, this is a black man trying to make an honest and decent living and trying to bring up his freaking community. Don't make me go off on here.
No, we can all go off on this. You go ahead, Omar. I'm just saying, man, take it to Cracker Barrel. You're going to go twerk like that. Go act the fool up at Cracker Barrel.
The Cracker Barrel, take your behind out and say something.
I think
might be so.
$10,000 a table. I mean, that man was not lying. He do not need your money. Like, take it to the door. Like that. I mean, I should have. He looked like he was dressed pretty nicely. So he's got some money. I don't know who would pay $10,000 for a table at New Year's Eve. I mean, if you got it, good for you. But I wonder how much they paid for the table on a regular day. And then they're acting a fool. They're twerking. They're doing whatever. I mean. If you got the money, you got the privilege, let me use a liberal word, then take it somewhere else. Open up your own club. Start working at your own club.
Man. You're doing $2 nonsense things at a $10,000 establishment. Like, what? You can go do that up at the Shakety Shack, whatever you want to go to. You go to you go there to the
you know what we call that?
Club. I mean, you could do
you
that.
know what we call that? Christian.
What?
It's ghetto. It's just ghetto.
But I mean, that's
it's
the one thing. But that's another thing too. When people want to talk about being black and what's not black and this and that, and they conflate being ghetto with being black, and like, you don't have to be ghetto to be black. Not every black person talks a certain way or does these things a certain way. It doesn't negate that. Just because they want to do everything improper and be ignorant about all that doesn't like enhance blackness now. But apparently that's how it works. That's how all this works. We're just out. We're in the wrong here. We don't know.
You know what their president says. You know what those folks' presidents say. We not black. That's their president.
Lord.
And I'm gonna say it till Jesus comes back. That is their president. That is not my president.
The people that when Terrence Williams years ago, when Terrence was first starting up, they had kicked Terrence out the black community. Apparently, he said, "Okay, I've been kicked out the black community, but that's just fine because I never saw the benefit of being in it." So it was one of those like dang moments when I was like, "Man,
right."
I never saw a benefit of being in the first place. Like, oh, like it's an enhanced thing to be. Oh, you were part of the black community. Like, man. Well, what does it mean anyways? Everybody wants a black culture and nobody want to be black in the first place, but now you want to be, we got to be black community, everything. Like, you want all the culture stuff. They want to do all that. They don't want to be black. So what's the deal?
What's really racist about that is like, and I'm sure you all have similar experiences, is that struggle is associated to blackness. I'm from the hood, I'm black. I'm from the inner city, I'm black. I didn't have a dad, I'm black. Like it's like a back and forth, like who's blacker, kind of who had the struggle more, and why is struggle associated with being black? Why are rich black people not associated with being black? Yeah, there's a lot of black people in this country who struggle, but that should not, like, that's just the victim mindset of like, guys, we're down here, we're below everybody, whoever's the lowest is the king of the black people. It's ridiculous, and it's a victim mindset that the black community needs to get out of.
Act like, oh man, you didn't go up in the projects with me. You didn't eat at my table when I was starving. This sound like, why do we have to? Why do we have to? Why would anybody want to do that? It's not an ideal thing to do.
Exactly.
I just thought about something.
Like my mom was saying, like, I get you were raised by a single mother. Okay, I commend your mom for doing it. But just because I didn't have that experience doesn't make me any less or whatever than you were. Okay, like I'm happy the way I was raised. It's not gonna knock me for anything, but you can't be doing that.
Yeah, and I just want to, because I don't want to, like, what you guys talk about, to do what you guys are just talking about, brag on the, lower income or whatever like that. But, I was, in the urban cities, I'm saying I came from that or whatever. But, why I feel like, because, when I talk to people that, my peers or whatever like that, I feel like the thing is that it's glorified, right? In the media, in our music, being from the projects, toting that thing, whatever like that is glorified. Like I said, I'm from where they're talking about in these songs. That's not glorified. It's not, nice hearing gunshots outside your window, your cousin being shot, your sister being shot, like just things like that. People going to jail, your dad not being, that is not pleasant, but it's like, glorified. So people are, they feel down or they feel like, they're with the culture or whatever like that, if that is where they're coming from. And even the people like these black liberal social influencers or whatever you want to say, the people who quote unquote made it out or whatever like that, they even, have that, they come, they have that mindset or they bring it up where they flaunt their money, like we see these rappers or whatever flaunting their money or whatever like that, but they always talk about, or they have this like soul tie to where they came from and stuff like that, and it's a terrible cycle, because it's like, you know, at the end of the day, what is it doing? In my opinion, it's like that, it's that gatekeeper mentality. So you made it out, but you're at that gate, keeping it locked and making sure everyone at the bottom is, that's, you know, living in that perpetual cycle. So
I got a clip for y'all. This is one thing, and there's some people, especially some black liberals, that they want to front the oppression, like, you know, it's the cool thing to do, like I made it out, when in fact the person didn't make it out. Like, I don't care if you made it out the mud or not. You know, you're successful at school, but they want to plan it out like, you know, they came from the bottom. This is good old Richard Fowler and Gianno Caldwell.
Make some determinations of what that means can really be considered an alternative fact, because we're just making up things at this point.
Right, Richard, you mentioned tanks, but we have no idea what the president would do with those.
I mean, we've heard over and over again he's going to set in federal resources, but he, according to the governor, Bruce Rauner said Donald Trump hasn't even called him yet, right? So if you want to fix the problem in Chicago, maybe you should have a conversation with Chicago's governor. And what the home audience doesn't know is that I'm from Chicago. I work in Chicago. I'm in Chicago almost once a week, and I could tell you, if you talk to the people of Chicago, they would tell you that putting tanks on the streets.
Richard, you're from Evanston. In order for you to know what the weather's like in Chicago, you gotta read the newspaper. You're not from Chicago.
That is not true.
So let's be very honest. No, you're not from Chicago. So I'm telling you, you're providing information that you don't even know the.
You from Evanston, bruh.
Evanston.
He called him out. That's a very wealthy suburb of Chicago.
That kind of reminds me of that scene in 8 Mile when he's like, "You're from Cranbrook. That's a private school," you know. And you know, it's like you wanna claim that you're from the hood, or you know, you have like a bunch of, you know, white kids or people, you know, trying to act hard and say they're from the inner city or whatever and glorify it, and it's like you don't want to. Everybody in that situation, once you make it out, know how many successful people live in the hood. You know why? Because they don't want to. Nobody wants to live in the hood. You're gonna be gone as soon as you make it. You're out.
And I want to make this point because I was having this conversation with someone else. And the thing about it, I'm glad you said that, Chris, because the thing about it with these white liberals, in my opinion, just from personal experience, is that these white liberals, right, they can come into our hoods or whatever like that and, you know, try to be down or whatever like that. But at the end of the night, they go home to the suburbs, right? With the black people in the urban communities and Hispanics in the urban communities, they're in that, you know, hood setting. They don't go home at night. They don't go. You know, they're trapped in that whatever. Where I'm from, we call it the concrete jungle. You know what I mean? Where they're trapped in this you know, concrete jungle. There's no escaping it. So they don't know what's on the other side of that building. You know, these nice houses with the grass or whatever like that. So this is the mindset. With the white liberals, it's just a game for them. They can just come over, chill, you know, be down with their homies or whatever like that. And when things get real or whatever, they're, you know, high stepping it out of there. So it's just an interesting dynamic right there.
I'll say this, oppression will always breed oppression until somebody stops that cycle. Misery is always going to love company. And to the people that think that an oppressive lifestyle it actually makes you more culturally sound or culturally woke, it's a shame, because those are the same people that say, well, we were kings and queens in Africa. You know why we're not kings and queens here? But it's not just because of slavery. Okay, yes, slavery did put us back centuries behind white people. It did. But you know how you come up from that? You come up and say, okay, I am an individual that is not going to be bound by what happened in the past or what happened in my family's past. I am going to make a stand. I'm going to get an education. I'm going to make a stand. And yes, I'm going to have some hard times. Trust me, everyone does. But I'm going to take a stand, do something for myself so that the next generation won't have to suffer like the previous generation or my generation. It's got to stop. That pathology of oppression, of demoralization, of victimhood, that pathology has to stop somewhere. Where can it stop if you don't stop it? We have to stop it.
Here's looking at Colin Kaepernick right now. I hope you're listening, everybody. Turlock, California, born and raised, right? or you lived there, both. You're like, you weren't born there, but you were raised there. So was I. Pretty good life, wasn't it? Crazy, right? Insanity. Gosh, my dad. That's a fact. Nothing against Milwaukee. He doesn't want to drive through his old neighborhood. My dad grew up in a very low-income neighborhood. Now would be considered the ghetto, the hood, somewhere you don't want to be anymore at all, by any means. It's bad. It's run down, totally out the works. Nobody wants to go back there. I've heard rappers and people, I ain't seen Ye back in the hood. I ain't seen that. Why would Kanye go back there? Why would anybody want to go back there to Chicago? Who would? I ain't seen Ye come back. Like, bro, like, why does anybody want to come back? Who wants to come back to that?
I had that.
You know
I
what?
had that talk with myself because I used to, when I, as a young kid growing up, I used to say that. I used to be really upset with the 50 Cents, with the Little Kims or whatever like that of the world or whatever. I used to be really upset, like, oh, why aren't they coming back to the hood? They ain't helping, the hood, whatever like that. They ain't around, whatever, but their music says this or whatever. But you're right. Like, I had to have that realization with myself. Like, they do not want to come back for a reason. In New York City, where I'm from, 200% crime increase. No one wants to live there. No one wants to live in that. So, I don't fault these people for coming back. Yes, I do feel like as a Black community, if we want to reach each other, we don't need gatekeepers. We need people who are actually going to, do something. We need referees. We need coaches, like that. But, them not wanting to, live in
right.
mess. I don't blame anyone wants to, any person who wants to, they call it white flight, whatever you want to call the situation. I don't blame anyone for wanting to leave a situation that isn't conducive for their safety, for their family.
Here's the thing about all of that. We need to, and this is the last part about it, obviously. Kanye West, people like him and the Lil Kims, like you said, they don't need to live there. They need to worry about their own safety and security. They're worth millions now, but and sometimes billions. But they need to invest in those communities. Put a community center there. I know it might get torn up. It just might. But put a community center there. Pour a little bit of money there. And if you pour money, resources, and maybe time, show your face. Don't live there, obviously, but show your face. Show that you care about where you come from. That is very different from living where you come from.
Yes, I will defend them. I will defend them if they don't, because a lot of those crooked cities that they grew up in are still crooked, and it doesn't matter if they put a community center in there. The people there aren't going to do right. They're going to go in there. They're going to put that money in there.
At that point, Christian, they can say they tried.
Right in the city, they can say they tried, but I'm going to say I've tried and wasted thousands of millions of dollars on something. That's just foolishness. I could try without wasting a lot of money, but there's a lot of points they go to these crooked places. They don't do right with the money. They're not going to behave right, or it's not even going to be worth it. They're going to tear it down. It's going to get shot at bullet holes. Who knows what? But
it's like my dad says. And my dad used to preach this in the pulpit. He says, once you bless someone with some money, you say, I bless you with this in Jesus' name, and you move on. You get your blessing for blessing those folks, and if they tear up the blessing, that's on them.
I kind of understand that.
So last bit of thing here, Joe Biden says he's pledging the first 100 days of his time in office that we'll be wearing a mask for the first 100 days, and we need to wear masks the first 100 days in office. What have we been doing this whole year?
Makes no sense. I mean, I'm of the persuasion I will, like Omar said, I will wear a mask. I want to protect myself. I have a newborn daughter. I will protect myself and my family. I will wear a mask. I believe in the science. But the second the government tells me to wear a mask, I have a problem with it, and I will speak on that. Will I stop wearing a mask? No, but I will. I will. Oh my goodness, I will. It's just, it infuriates me to think that they are taking away our choice to make a simple decision such as wearing a mask. I mean, you have every right to protect yourself in other ways, get sleep, eat healthy, exercise, take vitamins, get vaccines, anything like that. Whatever you want to do, that's your own personal choice. But when the government tries to tell me I must do something, I have a problem with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I personally think that a person that thinks that, that it's just going to be 100 days is kind of naive, just based off of this year. They still told us 30 days stop the spread, 60 days, 90 days, turn to the whole summer, turn to the whole year. lockdowns like crazy. Now we're going into another lockdown after Joe Biden wants to talk about dark winters and going into lockdowns. Here we are in a dark winter. You know, numbers are going up. I heard the other day that there was the highest amount of deaths, but I'm seeing the least amount of people. I mean, just in my state at least, I heard that Atlanta or Georgia, you're in Georgia, I heard it's a little bit more open, but I'm personally seeing people mask up, social distance more than ever, more than, you know, they've been doing now. And we're hearing, you know, deaths were on lockdown. So honestly, I don't think anything's going to change. I think he's going to say 100 days is going to go into 100 more days or whatever, turn into 365 days, whatever. The thing that scares me a little bit and kind of why I'm kind of angry with Americans is their docileness, right? With a mass mandate, obviously he's going to have to do an executive order or something like that where he makes it a federal mandate where we can be fined, thrown in jail, whatever it may be, if we choose not to wear masks, or if we slip up, or if we're, you know, we're outside just minding our business, not wanting to wear masks. In North Carolina right now, we have that California mandate where we have to put our mask up and down in between bites or whatever like that. So if you just, you know, don't comply to these stupid rules, you can be thrown in jail. Right. I don't feel comfortable with that as any Black person or whatever like that. Any minority shouldn't feel comfortable with, you know, you be a chance to be thrown in jail by living your life, by walking outside just plainly. So I'm very skeptical with that. I think everyone should be skeptical with federal mandates.
Dayla, you need to tell your lieutenant governor to be talking to Roy Cooper and talking to. I'm not talking about Dan Ford. I'm talking about Mark Pete. Mark Pete Robinson is gonna really.
Y'all gonna mess up. All those New Yorkers and New Jersey people moved out to North Carolina and done trying to ruin your state. Same thing out here in Florida. Those people move down here and they just think they can just run stuff. It's nonsense. Ron DeSantis will not enforce any sort of federal mandate like that if it ever came to be. So Florida, we're gonna be okay in regards to that. But everywhere else, good luck.
Michigan, man, we're drowning.
You might impeach her though, Chris. Y'all might get it through.
No, that's a nothing burger. I don't see anything happening. It's just the Republicans talking, or it's like it's a minority of the Republicans. I mean, no matter, even our Speaker of our House, Lee Chatfield, he was like, guys, we can't impeach her. We had a problem with them trying to impeach Trump. I'm like, but Trump didn't do anything and they had no evidence. This woman keeps going against what the courts are saying, what the House is saying. Like, she cannot keep locking down our state. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I doubt anything will come of it. But all I got to say is for those patriots that are, have nothing to lose, like if they don't have elderly family or, young children, and you live by yourself and you go out without a mask, that's your own choice. And I would say, like, don't roll over, because too many people are rolling over right now.
No.
What I'll say,
my screen with you guys just really, really quick about what I seen. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago about this here, guys. Former presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton agreed to take COVID-19 vaccine on camera. So that's interesting. What do you guys think about that one?
It's going to be like Flint, Michigan. That man's not going to drink. That man didn't drink Flint, Michigan water. He's not going to take a COVID vaccine. He's probably going to inject sugar in himself. That's what he's going to do. It's
going to be complete BS. It's going to, like, this is like the deep state telling us, like, we must take this vaccine. Like, I'm sorry. Did I trust them when they were presidents? I don't trust them now.
Oh, they're going to have them do it. They're going to have every single social media influencer do it. They're going to have The Rock do it. They're going to have, who else? They're going to have LeBron James do it.
Yeah, Lizzo.
Steph Curry do it. They're going to have everybody and all sort of culture and all that just try to convince everybody to go ahead and do this. And who knows? They ain't getting no dang back. Who knows what they're getting? And if they got anything, they get the good stuff. We would get the crap. So it's okay. So whatever it is, I ain't doing it.
Oh, no. Did y'all hear about the proposal that might be going through Congress? They might give out new stimulus checks, but you'll have to get the vaccine in order to get your stimulus check.
That is some purge nonsense, if you ask me, because in the final purge, the first purge,
that's dirty, because they're going to get all the poor people.
Exactly.
They get all the poor people. That's not right. That's not right.
They rounded up the poor people, which, not trying to give any clearance to Joe Biden, but tends to be Black and brown people, Hispanics, whatever, minorities that are, low income, whatever it may be, we're always the first people to, be the guinea pigs. So, of course, just like the purge, this is what will go on. And that's kind of scary. Whenever I hear anything like that, you want to bribe me to do something? No, thank you. Obviously, I don't need to do it.
It might not. It's not just going to be like the purge. You remember the movie I Am Legend when that white lady said, "I finally cured cancer, created all these zombies." Maybe that crap happens.
I don't none of these people, man. That's the one thing. It's just always like they're gonna. What are they gonna do? They're gonna go into the black community and distribute something. Is that what they're gonna do?
They've done it before.
What's about to happen?
Don't laugh too hard, because right now, because I've been working in urban engagement. Every school I visit, they're urban areas, low income areas, whatever you want to call it, black and brown areas. There are free COVID testing places everywhere. In my opinion, just how we say, fast food and alcohol places are strategically placed in low income and black and brown neighborhoods. These COVID places are strategically put in black and brown and low income areas. So just how these, free COVID, they're free COVID vaccine, because like they said, they want to make in this $900 billion bill, whatever that's going to get passed, or even Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are talking about, free vaccines. Everyone wants to make this vaccine free and readily available for a reason. And what will they do? They'll just, strategically go ahead and drop it off in black and brown areas. And what are we going to do? Take the vaccine, because what have I heard, just like, Black Twitter, Shade Room everywhere, we're so frightened of this vaccine, we want to, or if we're not frightened, the group that's not solely frightened of it is another group that just wants to go on with their life, right? You want to go out, party, work in restaurants, whatever may have you. So they're just going to go ahead and get this vaccine so they can go ahead and live a regular life or whatever. But we've already been told, right, how we're told that this is going to be a dark winter. We've already been told that this is a new normal. There's not going to be no back to your regular life. We've already been told these things, okay? So we're going into a reset, right? We've already been told these things. Build back better. Build back. So these just keywords, these semantics, we have to really, in my opinion, keep a close ear to them and, just be clean and be vigilant.
100%. We got to be in the middle of all this nonsense. And a lot of these people, they say, yeah, keep it all shut down, keep it locked down. They're either people, A, the government, or in media, their jobs aren't affected. They're getting paid. They're cashing out, actually, in the middle of all this. They're cashing out. They're making big money. They don't care. Or B, there are people that don't own anything, that are relying on the government already as it is, or they just don't care. They don't have any skin in the game. And they're just like, yeah, keep it shut down. I don't know. You don't own a business. You're not trying to work to support your family. You don't have a family. You don't got anything going for you here. So you don't care if anything's shut down or open or anything like that. And you call us the selfish ones. Like, all right. There's more to it than that. It's not just black and white like these people. And I see a lot of them, they're either kids my age or they're elites up at the top. They're just so out of touch from reality that don't care. Walmart's open, but the mom and pop shop isn't. That's my final thoughts on all this.
Yeah. And I don't know, I just think it's really go back to the businesses being closed on how, I guess, the liberals, the party of the working class people, right? This is supposed to be, that they don't notice how terrible these policies and how, life-changing these lockdowns are for these small businesses, where they're supposed to be the party of the working class people. But in reality, their policies are really helping and boosting these big businesses. So I'm just very confused. And honestly, in my opinion, I do think that the liberals, the leftists, the people at the DNC, the top people, they think that their voters are stupid, period. I'm sorry. At this point, I truly do believe that. And honestly, I think that they think all Americans are stupid, or in the ones that they don't think are stupid, they think or they know that we're too scared to say anything, or we're too hostile, or we're not going to do anything. So they're just going to step all over us or whatever like that. So it's really sad to see, but this is what we're seeing in real time play out, in my opinion.
What you got, Omar?
My final thoughts on all of it. I really, really fear for what's about to happen with this whole COVID mess. I really fear about what this vaccine, because I'm not down in modern medicine. My mom was a nurse for 40 years. She just retired. My older sister is studying to become a nurse. My little sister, I believe, is going to become an LPN. So I respect the profession. I respect modern medicine. I really do. But it's being rolled out by a governments that have agendas. And this government is about to shift over from Donald Trump's government to Joe Biden's government. And under Joe Biden government, I do not trust Joe Biden. I do not trust Kamala Harris. I do not trust Nancy Pelosi or any of these people. So honest, and I'm at risk. I should be the one wanting this virus. I mean, not the virus, wanting this vaccine to come out. I'm at risk. You know, Chris is at risk because he has a newborn baby. But we're facing a choice of do I trust this government, and can I trust modern medicine? I can trust modern medicine. I can't trust this government. And if the government's rolling the sucker out like this, I'm taking my chances. That's all I'm going to say.
I completely agree with you. All I gotta say, final thoughts is don't trust the government. I don't trust the government. You shouldn't trust the government. I don't want to get too libertarian on everybody right now, but like, do not trust the government. They have an agenda. They make more money than you. They'll always make more money than you, and they see themselves as better. So you got to remember that, and everything that they do, it's to better themselves. That's why all of these states that have like orange zones, red zones, purple zones, whatever, their businesses, the governor's own business, like in California, they're not shut down. He's still making his wine. What is his name? Newsom. He's still making his wine in his Napa Valley winery, while mom and pop shops are shut down. LA is shut down. He doesn't care about you. He wants to make his own money. So don't trust the government. If they tell you that you must take this vaccine, don't take. I would say personally, don't take the vaccine, because I don't trust what they would say.
I don't buy them either. Outdoor dining is now banned in the state of California. Currently, Gavin Newsom shut that down, but people are doing it anyway, so more power to them. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been another great week. Thank you for tuning in to Black Friday. These opinions, again, are our own and not for sale. We'll see you all next Friday.